Hi, this is Scott Miller. Welcome to my Top Performance blog. I have the pleasure of sitting here this afternoon in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and talking with Robbie Wagner, who is the CEO of Calgary Counseling Center. Thanks for having me here, Robbie.
My pleasure.
Okay. And you guys are really doing some cutting-edge stuff here. Can you tell me a little bit about what's happening at the center?
Well, we've been collecting outcomes since September 2004.
Wow.
And we have close to about 30,000 cases in our database.
That's
right now.
amazing.
And so we know with confidence that our clients are doing well.
You do?
We do.
Is this unusual in this particular province, in Canada?
I think what's unusual is the volume of cases that we have.
Right.
And my funders tell us that we actually provide the greatest number of, our N is very large in terms of providing information back to them. So they're really satisfied with the feedback that they're getting from us.
Okay.
And so our accountabilities are in place. But
right.
From my perspective, accountability is only one piece of it.
Okay.
And isn't the major reason why we've done this.
Oh no, tell me the major reason now.
The major reason that we've done this is we truly want to make sure the clients are benefiting from the service.
Okay.
And the only way we can do that is to collect data,
okay,
both outcome data and alliance data, and use that data in our practice.
All right. What's been one major impact, if you could put a finger on it, about gathering and monitoring the outcome data here at Calgary Counseling Center?
It's been 4 years now, 5 years.
Yes.
Interestingly, I think we're only now starting to have an internal language to talk about it.
All right.
And probably the most surprising thing is how long it's taken
all right.
to shift the culture.
All right.
We're not there.
All right.
Or some people would say we are. I don't think we're closer to where I want us to be.
And the culture, what do you mean by that? What kind of cultural shift has to take place? I mean, aren't you just administering a test? I mean, come on, how hard could this be?
Well, I think a lot of people perceive it that way, and
yeah.
including some of our staff perceive it that way.
Okay.
But for us, it's about the culture of feedback. It's
all right.
about integrating
yeah.
and living and breathing the fact that we're truly interested in what the data tells us.
Wow.
And making decisions with clients about that data. And we want to ensure that clients get their needs met.
Yeah.
And that we appropriately provide the service that they're looking for.
Okay.
Most importantly, what we're learning is that having the data is allowing us to make program decisions.
Really?
And using that information to figure out how best to craft our programs. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
In our depression program, what we've learned, that if clients are in individual counseling, they do okay.
Yeah.
But most of our clients aren't going below the clinical cutoff. They're
all right.
almost hitting the cutoff, but
yeah.
not going below it.
They're not recovered.
They're not recovering.
Right.
When they when they do a combination of individual and group,
yeah.
They're clearly recovering.
That's interesting.
And the impact is quite phenomenal. So now we have decisions to make.
Yeah.
And we've had some beginning discussions with the staff about whether we want to say, if you have a certain score, you need to do individual and group.
It's exciting.
Or if you're only going to do group.
Yeah.
That's part of the next phase,
absolutely.
I think, of the cultural change, because staff are saying, oh my God, you mean we're going to tell clients what to do? And we're saying, how do we argue with the evidence? Because we're not talking about a sample size of 30.
Right.
We're talking about a sample size of 1,100 cases.
Right.
So this
you can really speak with some gravitas here.
Absolutely.
And say that, and you don't have to dictate, certainly, but you can inform clients that here's what we find.
And that we want to make sure you get the best service possible, and we know that.
Yeah.
That you will experience that in our depression program. We
yeah.
do a combination of individual counseling and group.
Okay.
We've done that in our domestic violence programs, where we've used the data to inform our practice.
Okay.
It took a long time, but now nobody would experience now the hassles that we had 10 years ago when we implemented those changes in the domestic violence program, and we weren't quite as sophisticated then. In our use of outcomes.
You mean you're treating people who have been identified by the courts as victims of domestic violence or as perpetrators?
Both.
Both.
Both men and women in each of those categories.
Okay, and you're using the outcome measures in those programs as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, interesting.
What we're learning there is that we actually need to be much more worried about the voluntary folks coming into treatment than the mandated folks.
Now wait a minute. This is completely backwards from common sense. So help me out here.
Well, one of the reasons we know this, contrary to the experience of our colleagues in the U.S., who mostly capture data about mandated men, because that's what's funded.
Yes.
We see both.
Yeah.
So what we've learned is the voluntary men have significantly more mental health problems, significantly more problems with addictions, much more clinical distress than the mandated men do.
Okay, all right. And as a result, you need to pay attention to them more, get them more services, etc.
And make sure they get the right amount of service, because they're actually at greater risk of withdrawing from treatment. Not just stopping them in some kind of program that lasts 8, 10, 12, 15 weeks. Exactly.
All right.
So we have to engage those folks quite differently, we're learning, than the mandated men.
Now, you know, agencies all over the world right now are contemplating implementing these measures, and we've been in contact, and I've been working with your group for a long time. If you had to give a single piece of advice to an agency manager who is contemplating beginning to use outcomes to inform process, Robbie, what would it be?
Take your time. Make sure you process it well with the staff.
Yeah.
But also be really clear about your expectations.
Okay.
And don't be afraid. You know, we Canadians tend to be bashful and hold back sometimes. And I would say simultaneously provide a lot of structure and direction, including agency requirements, while supporting people through the process.
Okay. All right. And if people wanted to get in touch with you, Robbie, how would they do that?
Best way is through email, but they can certainly call me as well.
At the Calgary Counseling?
At the Calgary Counseling Center.
All right. Thanks, Robbie.
You're welcome. Thank you.